friends, today we're going to have fun with Play-Doh and learn our ABCs. Are you ready? Let's start! Let's make some Play-Doh rolls. Let's use purple dough to make our first letter. Here is my letter A cutter. Let me place it here. And now, using a rolling pin, I'm going to roll my dough flat and nice. I'll press my cutter, firm and nice. Take out the excess clay. My letter A. A for an aeroplane. I'll use red dough this time for our next letter. On to our next letter B. I'll place it here and roll the dough. Now I'll press this cutter. That's my letter B. B for a bus. For my next letter, I'm using blue dough. I have my next letter cut out. Let's see how it looks like. I can't wait to see what letter C cut out looks like. C for a car. For our next letter, let us go with green color dough. On to our next letter D. I'm going to place it in the middle and press it down. Letter D. D for a dump truck. For my next letter E, I'm going to use black dough. Here's the cutter for my next letter E. And now, placing my cutter in the middle. That's my letter E. E for an electric scooter. I'm going to ride my electric scooter. Whee! Using this light green color for our next letter cutout. This time I'm going to make letter F. Let's roll out our dough nice and flat. Placing my cutter into the middle of the dough and taking off the excess. Letter F. F for a fire truck. Nina, Nina. My fire truck is off to save the day. I'm going to use this orange dough for my next letter. For my next letter G, I'm going to roll the dough and press the cutter into the middle. Letter G. G for a gondola boat. Let's ride the gondola and float down the water. Splash, splash. Let's make our next cutout in this brown color dough. Next, I'm going to make the letter H. H for an helicopter. Vrr, vrr. Here goes my helicopter. Look, I'm flying like a dragonfly. I have this beautiful turquoise colored dough. Let's use it to make our next letter. This time we are going to make the letter I. Press, press, press. I for an ice cream truck. Ding ding! The ice cream truck is here. Yum! Let's make our next letter cutout in this grey Play-Doh. For my next letter J, J for a jet ski. Zoom! Zoom! I'm riding my jet ski on the waves. I'm going to use this bright yellow colored dough to make our next cutout, letter K. I'm going to place the cutout for my next letter K. K for a kayak. Paddle, paddle. I'm kayaking my way down the river. Do you know what comes after letter K? It's letter L, and we are going to use this magenta Play-Doh. Here's the shape for my next letter. I'm rolling my dough. And now, pressing the shape for my letter L firmly. L for a limousine. I'm riding in a long fancy limousine. So cool! How about I use this cyan dough for our next cutout? Moving on to my next letter, letter M. I'm rolling my dough flat and nice. Placing my cutter in the middle of the dough and pressing it firmly. M for a motorcycle. Hold on tight. My motorcycle goes brum, brum, brum. This time I'm going to use this purple dough. Our next letter is letter N, and here is the shape for letter N. N for a narrow boat. Let's sail the canal on a narrow boat. For my next letter O, I'm going to use orange dough. This time, we are going to make letter O. Carefully placing my cutter. O for an oil tanker. The big oil tanker is chugging along. I am going to use this blue dough for my next cutout, letter P. Here's the cutter for my next letter P. And now I am going to place this cutter right in the middle, firm and nice. Here's my letter P. P for a police car. Woo! Woo! My police car is chasing the baddies. For letter Q, let us use this brown Play-Doh. What comes after letter P? Yes, you're right. It's the letter Q. And here's our cutter for the letter Q. Here's our letter Q. Q for a quad bike. I'm bouncing on my quad bike. Whoa! This is bumpy. This time, let's use this turquoise colored dough. Our next shape is letter R. Let's roll our dough flat and place the cutter right in the middle. Press it, press it, press it. That's my letter R. R for a rocket. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! My rocket going to the moon! I am going to use this grey color dough for my next cutout. What comes after letter R? That's right, it's the letter S. And here is the shape for our letter S. S for a school bus. Let's ride the school bus and wave to our friends. Let's use this green color for our next cutout. Our next letter is letter D. Rolling my dough flat and nice. And now placing this cutter in the middle and pressing it firmly down. Here's my letter T. T for a train. Choo choo. All aboard the train. Let's go. Let us use cyan color dough for our next cutout. Our next letter is letter U. And placing the cutout in the middle. U for a unicycle. Look at me go on my one-wheeled unicycle. Whee! For our letter V, let us use this orange dough. Here is the cutout for my next letter V. V for a van. My van is packed and ready. Let's go on an adventure. This time, for letter W, I am using black dough. Here is the cutout for our next letter. I am going to place it on my dough and I cannot wait to see how it comes out. W for a wagon. Let's pull our wagon. For letter X, I am going to use this bright yellow dough. Our next cutout is for letter X. X for an X-ray truck. The X-ray truck is here to check our teddy's bones. Beep beep. For letter Y, I'm going to use this light green dough. My next letter shape is letter Y. Rolling my dough flat and now placing my letter shape in the middle and pressing it down firmly. Y for a yacht. Sail on the shiny blue sea in my yacht. For my last letter Z, I am using this magenta dough. The last letter is letter Z and here is the shape for letter Z. Z for a zeppelin. I am floating in the sky in a giant zeppelin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now you know your ABC. Next time, won't you sing with me? Friends, you did such a great job today. We learned all our ABCs with Play-Doh. See you next time for another adventure with Play-Doh. Bye, friends. Thank you for watching, friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more learning fun.